How's it going, folks? This is what I'm working on today. It's the light Dodge truck again. Seems like there's always something going on with this thing. He called me and said that his air conditioner wasn't working. Said he heard a loud screech, and then it ended up messing up the idler pulley and the belt, so he had to have a new one put on there. The compressor itself had seized. I've since got it broken loose, but now the clutch mechanism for the drive pulley on it is shorted out as well. So even though I could probably get this one running again after it's seized up once, evidently there is something wrong inside of it mechanically, and he didn't want to take the chance. So he went to the local auto parts place and got a new compressor. Surprisingly enough, the price for a new one's only like $30 more than the remanufactured one, so I told him to go ahead and get the new one. So he got it in the box. It came with a set of seals where the manifold itself bolts to the top of it, luckily, but it doesn't come with the refrigeration oil that's supposed to be in it. Luckily, I remembered that they didn't usually come shipped with oil, and it even says so in the booklet that comes with it, and the people at the auto parts store didn't realize that, so I ended up having to make another trip back to the auto parts store and get one. We also went ahead and got the receiver to replace it. It's got a desiccant in it that helps dry the refrigerant charge, pull any moisture that's left in the system after you do a good deep evacuation on it. Also came with some extra seals and the looks like little springs that go around these connectors, and a strainer screen which goes in place in the line either close to this or at the condenser. I'll have to see where the fitting's at that's got that screen in it. So basically we're going to be changing out the compressor itself. I've already gotten the breather off of the truck, got the fan belt off of the tensioner and off of the compressor itself. Sorry about the lighting, the sun's coming in at a real odd angle. It's late in the day. Took the breather off, and as I usually do, I put something down over the breather, number one, so I wouldn't drop something down in it, or number two, since I live out here in the woods, I don't want no critters dropping anything down through that throttle body. I've seen it happen before, and I don't want to repeat that. I hate to have to pull the throttle body or the intake off of this thing. There's the receiver itself, sitting tucked back in here at the firewall. The pressure switch, low pressure switch, is actually into the top of it. I'll have to remove that and put it in the other one. It checked out fine whenever I checked the system out. There's two connectors, one here and then another one back here at the firewall. You remove these aluminum clips right here, and then you gently have to work those connections loose with a tool, kind of like you do for fuel lines and stuff. Sometimes they come out pretty easy, other times they can be kind of difficult, so I'm hoping this one comes out a lot easier than that heater core connection did on my GMC truck. But anyway, I want to give you guys kind of a before picture. As I start getting stuff apart, I'll try to bring you guys back and kind of give you an idea of what's going on. Trying to see if I can tell where that strainer screen is. I'm following the lines back and forth. So far, I'm not seeing it, but I'll find it. I know it's got to be in here somewhere. Different makes and different models, they put them in different areas, but I'll find them, and then I'll bring you guys back here in just a few. See you. Okay, guys, I'm back. Thought I'd just give y'all a show on how these connectors come apart. I know most of you have already taken them apart before. I got the camera flipped around here. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. I've already unplugged the low pressure suction switch on the condenser here, and I just got done snapping this line right here loose. You take these tools that you get from the auto parts store or wherever, and where is it? There we go. And you take and push that lip up inside of the connector itself right here. Sometimes they can be kind of a pain to get in there, but what I like to do is take some sort of a cleaner, or carburetor cleaner, works real well, or PV Blaster, any of that stuff, and spray it up underneath where this tool goes, because what happens sometimes is those things get dirt and stuff up in there, and it won't let you push these tools up in there, but you have to push that tool up in there, and sometimes it helps to kind of push in on this line a little bit and work the tool up in there. Sometimes they're kind of tight to get in there, and then once you get that spring opened up, the line should pull right off. That one actually came off pretty easy. The other one may be another chore though. I'm not sure how well you can see, but it's actually back in here at the firewall. And the tool, of course, and the way they designed it, you've actually got to push it in from the firewall side. It would have made a lot more sense if it had been facing the direction this was, or maybe had this style connector on the other side of it so that you could push it in from this way. But anyway, I wanted to give you guys how that looks. I'm going to shut the camera off and go ahead and see if I can't work this other piece out, and I'll bring you back here in just a minute. Okay, that wasn't too awful bad. I finally got it loose. This thing also has a band clamp at the base, which is bolted through one of the studs for the heater box inside. It's got a nut on the side of it there going in from this side, and it basically goes around the body of this thing to help hold it stationary. That's the line that went into the one at the firewall, and then here's the one that goes into the suction line for the compressor. Fixing to unbolt the compressor now. There are several bolts on this particular truck. You've got a nut right here which holds the bracket for your suction and discharge lines, and then you've got about 4 or 5 bolts which hold the compressor itself in. You've got one right here that goes down through there, and that's one reason that I wanted to take this line loose with the clamp for the lines so that I could unbolt the actual lines themselves from the compressor with this nut right here, and I can actually pick those up out of the way and get to the mounting bolt right here. The others are pretty well accessible with everything in place. You've got one at each corner. You've got a bracket back here which kind of sandwiches both of these two rear bolts. So you got to take this nut and bolt off of this bracket, so that's got to come off. And once you get to that point, it's pretty much pull the compressor out, see where the strainer screen is and replace it, and then start making sure everything's nice and clean. I always use a little bit of denatured alcohol to clean all my fittings and stuff. It comes with new O-rings and everything already installed on these, but I always like to take a little bit of the refrigeration oil, which we're going to put in the compressor here in just a few minutes, and lubricate these O-rings so that they slide back together real well and they don't get pinched, or you don't nick them or anything. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and finish pulling the compressor off, and I'll bring you guys back in a few. Okay, I got the compressor and the receiver both out. Wasn't too bad. It only took about 30 minutes for all of it, minus what time I took grabbing tools and stuff. Got the old compressor sitting here, and I always like to check everything to make sure all the bolt holes and all the other stuff are correct. Everything looks to be identical. On the side of this, which you can't see it for the label at the moment, I'll show you on the old one. This bolt here on the side of it is where you actually put the refrigeration oil into it or drain it out if you're changing it. The problem you run into is that this thing sits horizontal in the truck, so putting oil back in there is kind of a pain if you try to do it with it in the vehicle. You can do it with like a zoom spout or something, or a flexible tube with a funnel on top of it, but as far as trying to get the old oil out, you almost have to take like a shop vac or something in order to vacuum that out. That's why I always try and do this with it out of the vehicle, so you can turn it upright like this, take the plug out, which even on this side of this one, it's got the label here. I'm not sure if you can read that or not the way the light's hitting it. It said must add oil. It says 2 to 3 ounces on the booklet itself. It says replacement compressors are typically shipped dry. Use a type and quantity of oil specified by the vehicle manufacturer or the compressor specification guide. So we're using the PAG oil 100, and it says add 2 to 3 ounces of the oil to the compressor through the crankcase port or the suction port as noted by the add oil decal. I always like to put it in here as opposed to trying to push it in through the suction side of the compressor when it's running, because you could have dry startup. But anyway, I've still got to take the pressure switch out of the old receiver and put some thread sealant on it and put it on the new receiver. and then find out where this orifice screen's at. I've not gotten down in there yet to look to see where it unbolts at. It's got to be in the line somewhere. But I'm going to get these done and get that screen changed out, and I'll bring you guys back here in just a minute. Hey guys, it says 2 or 3 ounces for the new compressor on the literature that came with it. On the truck itself, it doesn't give you any specific information about the amount. So anytime I run into something like that, what I did was took the drain plug out of the old compressor and stuck it over one of my measuring cups here, and it looks like there's about 2 ounces in there. There may have been a little bit of it leaked out when I had it sitting out there on the bench, but just to play it safe, since I'm not sure with this thing being bad and everything, I'm probably going to go ahead and put closer to 3 ounces in the new one if I don't drop this one in the floor first. But again, it goes in the same way. You just flip it up on its side here and take this plug out, which has got like a an O-ring which seals it, and take a funnel and pour your clean oil into it. Of course, I'm going to clean my cup out real good, clean my hands off, because I don't want any contamination inside of that. It's probably a pretty good idea to do this right before you get ready to seal everything back up and pull a vacuum, because this oil is hygroscopic. It absorbs moisture out of the air really quick. This stuff is even worse than the old mineral oil, which used to be in the R12 systems. The longer this stuff sets out, the more moisture by volume it absorbs. So I'm going to get everything else bolted up on the truck, and then this will be the last piece I stick back in. What I'm going to try and do is get the oil in it, get it mounted back up, and then take the cap off right here, put the new seals on, and bolt the lines back to it, so that way I can get it sealed up in under 15 minutes, and then get it under a vacuum so I can start evacuating the system. So I'm going to flip you guys off. No, I'm not going to flip you guys off. Sorry about that. Turn the camera off and get this thing swapped around, and I'll bring y'all back whenever I got it bolted up. See you in a few. Okay, I finally got it under vacuum. I never did figure out where this thing went. I took every single connection on this thing, starting at the condenser here. It wasn't on either side of that line. I took this bolt loose, pulled that segment out, thinking it might have been in that long section of tubing, and it's not. The hard aluminum line runs around here. I actually took it completely out, disconnected it at the condenser, then disconnected it back here at the evaporator, checked both ends of it, even blew air through it. It's not in there. It's got some protective gum wrapped around it here to keep it from rubbing on the fender well. I even sliced it open thinking, well, maybe it's in there, but this is all one piece of line. There's no fittings in it. I checked in the receiver itself. It didn't have one. I checked in the inlet and outlet of the evaporator. It doesn't have anything in it. Here's the suction line going back to the compressor. There was nothing in that. And then, of course, both of them go up here and bolt onto the top of the compressor. There's nothing there. And then that liquid line brings you back around to where we started at the condenser again. So unless this thing is somewhere inside on the evaporator that you've got to unbolt something in the heater box or something, I don't have a clue. That's the first one I've ever seen that you couldn't find it. Normally, on most of them, it's right here as this line comes off the condenser. But it wasn't anywhere in there. I even ran a screwdriver back in the long section far as it would go till I hit these elbows, and there was nothing in there. Took a flashlight, checked it, blew air through both ways. Of course, I do that anyway to make sure that there's no residual old refrigeration oil, or there's no restrictions or anything in the system. I always purge it first with air before I start pulling a vacuum and hooking everything back up, so to make sure I don't have any blockages in the system, and I didn't. Everything had air flow through it. So this thing's only like $2, but when he goes back down there to take the core back for the $10, I guess he can return this too, because I couldn't find where it went. First time I've ever had that happen. So, but anyway, like I said, I've got it under vacuum now. It's been under vacuum for about 10 minutes. I'm pulling on the suction and discharge side both to help make sure that I pull any non-condensables, air and so forth out of it, moisture mainly. Started hooking everything up. I'd got this kit at the Chinese hardware store, and as soon as I started pulling the vacuum, I heard something hiss, and I thought, oh man, I've got a leak on one of the lines. Wrong. It was the O-ring right here where this piece goes together. Luckily, I had a set of O-rings I'd gotten from the Chinese hardware store before, and one of them, luckily enough, fit there. So now I've got it under vacuum. I'm probably going to pull it for an hour or so. It's showing 30 inches of mercury right now, which there's no way that's possible. 29 point something's about the best you can get. But I'm going to go ahead and pull this for a while and then shut it off, isolate it from the pump, and let it sit for a while to make sure that it doesn't leak back up to atmospheric pressure, to make sure that I don't have a leak in the system somewhere. I got the drive belt put back on, and I'm just now getting ready to put the breather tube and everything back on, the air filter box and so forth. Got the compressor plugged in, got the high pressure cutoff switch here plugged in, low pressure switch over on the receivers plugged in. So once this thing is evacuated down to a point that I feel comfortable, I'll add a little bit of refrigerant to it, go around with some leak detector and spray all my joints to make sure that I don't have a pressure leak. Sometimes you might have a leak and it not show up until you put a little bit of pressure to it. The way these fittings and stuff go together, they're compressed and you push them in onto those O-rings. And I have had issues on the high pressure side in the past where once you turned the compressor on and started pumping, a leak would develop around one of those O-rings, even though I did clean them and I replaced all the ones that came with O-rings to replace them, lubricated the rest with the refrigeration oil, and then slid everything back together. So I'm pretty confident, unless there's a leak somewhere, that there was already a leak before I started on it, that this thing should be relatively leak-free. I got the old compressor put back in the box so you can take it back, and I guess I'll bring you guys back whenever I start putting the refrigerant in it. I'll see you then. Well, I finally got it charged to about a third of a can, of a third can, and she's sweating pretty doggone good now. Pressures look good, right about 48 at idle on the suction. Not sure how well you can see it. Even the rubber hoses got condensation on it. The windows look like they're fogging up. Yeah, that's pretty good. I think that's saying it's pretty good shape. So sorry I didn't bring you guys back while I was trying to get it charged, but I was having difficulty trying to hold a little heat gun on the cans. They get a little cold and you can kind of coax them along with that. You can't get too carried away though, or you can blow the relief on the can itself. But yeah, she's doing good. Battery died in my digital thermometer, so I can't give you a temperature reading on it, but I soaked all the joints and stuff down real good, all the areas that I've taken it apart, and I didn't see any leaks anywhere. So I'm going to take it for a test drive and check it out and then leave it set till tomorrow and then check the pressures one more time, and I think I'm going to send it on its way. So if I do a test drive tomorrow, I'll take you guys along with me. See you on the next one. Take care.